The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie show on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Free Kicks. So, Adam, you've been to the hospital, or did you go to just like an outpatient sort of place?
Yeah, I had to have a procedure done, Rick.
Yeah. Are you clean as a whistle?
I'm clean as a whistle. Yeah, if people, for all the listeners out there, you know, when you get to 50, and it was interesting, I got a birthday card when I was 50. Now I'm a little past 50, only a few years past 50, but I was a little bit late to the party. But I got the big C, with ends in oscopy, and got it all taken care of. Everything's clean, but the 24 hours before, I can tell everybody here, it's not fun.
I think everybody who's been there knows exactly what you're talking about. But I think they'd rather hear us talking about football/soccer, and we will do that because it's time for Free Kicks.
And now, Free Kicks. Free Kicks with Illinois Youth Soccer Association's Director of Coaching, Adam Howarth, and Rick Kemper.
Clean as a whistle. It's time to talk about football, soccer, and you know, I'm a little. Last week I was riding a high. I'm telling you, this is like a roller coaster being on this Premier League train. Last week, Liverpool looked like they were just getting ready to take all comers, and then they went to Arsenal and dropped a turd in the middle of the field there, and it was not a good game. They blew it against Arsenal. They lost 3-1, and in fact, there were a couple of plays that were just very un-Liverpool. There was one goal that was just actually two goals that were just complete gifts. So that's how it turns out. And of course, Man City goes and wins. And now they are 2 points behind Liverpool with a game in hand, which means all they have to do is win, and that's all they do. That's all they do is win. So it looks like, once again, Man City is going to be jumping to the top of the table, and this time they have one person to thank, and that man is Phil Foden. And here's my theory. I wanted to run this by you.
Okay.
With Harry Kane gone to Bayern, I think Phil Foden is the best offensive player in England right now, the English player. What do you think about that?
It's an interesting call. I think he's definitely up there. There's no question. What I really liked about it, I didn't see the whole game, saw the highlights, but what I really liked about his performance was that he was playing in a little bit more of a central role. Yeah. Did you see what, so, and all of his goals were from a central position.
They were.
So how I look at it, big picture, zooming out type of a situation, I see him and Harry Kane combining a heck of a lot coming up in this next European Championship. So maybe that might be it. So you've got, arguably, like you said, probably the most informed English player with the most informed English player in Germany.
Right. 20 goals.
Sounds like a good combination to me.
Yeah.
So, I think both these players could be. I like the way that he's playing off Haaland a little bit too. So that's only going to help him because Harry Kane is just a slightly smaller Haaland. That's basically what he is. So I think, I think you could be onto something there, Rick.
Well, the European Championships are this coming summer. The Euro Cup, and I'll be there. Actually, I'm going to Berlin to watch a game. I'll see Netherlands against Austria, I think, is the game that I have.
Nice.
It's a lottery, so you really have no control over it. But England's got to be one of the favorites, one of the top 3 or 4 favorites to win the European Championship, don't you think?
I would say so. I think you've got England, you've got France. You can never rule out Germany, obviously, hosting. But yeah, I think England and France are probably the top 2 in terms of how they're playing, how informed they are. So those are going to be the 2 nations that are going to be very difficult to beat. And I'm just excited just to see all these players back, because the tough thing with the last World Cup, I think, was tough because we had so many players get injured beforehand.
Right.
And I think that was part of it just because of how the season is. We've seen that with all of the teams this year, with a lot of players being injured just because of the course of the season. That's why it's so important to have good, big squads to deal with. And that's why I'm excited for the Euros. Hopefully everybody's fit and healthy.
Yeah, I hope so too. Let's talk about Manchester United. We don't talk about them very often these days.
There's a reason. There's a reason for that.
I know. We both feel the same way about those guys.
No, I'm just kidding.
But after not scoring in the first half of the season, 21-year-old Rasmus Højlund, is that how we're pronouncing it? He has now scored in 4 consecutive games. And if you combine him with the exciting winger Alejandro Garnacho, who's even younger, Manchester United suddenly has an offense.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, when you look at what they did, again, moving in a good direction, this is, like you said at the beginning, it's a roller coaster, and Man United is definitely a roller coaster of a team.
They are.
They're all over the place, but really comfortable victory. They looked very good, played very well. And, the youngsters are doing it for them. And that's exciting for the future for them, similar to some of the other teams who've spent a lot of money on young players, but maybe not necessarily getting the job done as well as what these guys are doing recently.
Any team in mind when you say that?
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
But the team that the exciting thing for Man United is that throughout all of the issues that they've had in terms of on and off the field, they seem to come back and rebound, where I think some of the other teams have been struggling to do that. And Rasmus Højlund, like you said, I think he's got 5 in his last 6. He's getting the job done. That's what you want from your striker. And he's only 21.
Yeah, I know. I think Garnacho's only 19 or maybe 20. But the great thing about those two is they are, the future. They are, they're going with a youth program, which is something they had not even tried over the last 10 years, where they've been, spending money, bringing in these huge stars, trying to just be Manchester United and let the uniform and the star power take over. And they've not built a team. Yeah, exactly. Now, the interesting thing is, I think that if you want to put a little bit of a spin on it, the only concern I would have if I'm a Man United fan is that they're getting outshot a lot. They are not necessarily massively ahead in terms of the possession, and obviously that's what you want to have. You want to have more of the ball than the other team. So that would be the only concern. But that being said, they're getting the goals when they need the goals, and that's important too. Well, it's a midfield concern then, right? You're talking about. Yeah. Bruno Fernandes not doing it for you anymore?
No, I think, maybe he's a player. I've heard rumblings about him going to Saudi Arabia. So that could be something that might happen down the road. But I think they do need a little bit of resurgence in terms of those central players. And that's been a bit of a concern for them. But they're still finding ways to score goals. So that's always a good thing.
Yes, agreed. We should also talk about the bottom of the table. We don't do that as much as we do the top. And I sat down and watched Sheffield United versus Aston Villa this past weekend. Now, Sheffield United, before the game, I watched the pregame hype, and they were talking about all these techniques that the manager was using to get them revved up. And, some of them were a little unorthodox, but, they felt like he had got this team ready to go. And oh boy, it was bad. I mean, I just looked at the stats on this team. All right. It's after 23 matches, Sheffield United has scored only 19 goals, which is horrible. But I'll give you something worse. They've conceded 59 goals. at this point in the Premier League season, that is the worst of any team ever.
Wow.
And 5 of those came this past weekend in that game against Aston Villa. And I thought Aston Villa was doing like the little kids. All right, I want 5 passes before the next shot. Everybody can only shoot with their left foot. It kind of felt like that, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it was awful. I was listening to the game on the radio, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was 4 goals down after 30 minutes. And it was a bit like a situation that happened to Tottenham last year when they were playing at Newcastle. Literally, people were leaving after 30 minutes. They got up off their seats and said, "We've done. This is ridiculous." Here's another interesting stat. I saw this the other day, is that the manager, the new manager, and this goes back to when he was the manager before, he's lost 31 of 40 games in the Premier League. So you bring in a new manager. You bring in a new manager to hopefully make things better, but unfortunately, he's lost more than he's won by quite a bit, and so that makes it really difficult. Now, that being said, Aston Villa, fantastic. They looked like world beaters, and Ollie Watkins.
Yeah. He's something.
If Harry Kane wasn't there, he's England's number 1 striker. So maybe he would compete for England's top player right now with Foden.
Yeah, that's a good call.
But I would say Ollie Watkins is a very, very good understudy for Harry Kane. Something happens to Harry Kane, and it's fingers crossed, everything crossed, nothing. He's okay, injury free for Euros. Ollie Watkins could come in and get the job done.
Yeah, and in fairness also to Sheffield United, they just don't have the players. Let's just be honest about it. They just don't. It's not like some of these other teams we were talking about, like Manchester United, or some of these teams that struggle, or Chelsea that they have the players. They're just not playing well. Sheffield United's got nothing.
Yeah, it's a real tough one. I'm looking at the players that they have. It's a struggle. They do have an American player on the team in Trusty, but he's been a bit up and down and been moved around a fair bit too in terms of position. But when you look at the players, they're playing with 5 at the back. They're basically playing a 5-4-1, and they're still leaking goals, and that makes it really, really difficult for them.
Yeah, they play the entire game on their side of the field.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
not fun. And the Villa goals were just clinical. I mean,
Villa looked really good. I mean, really good. As good as I've ever seen them. Yeah,
I know. I mean, so congrats to them. They look really good. The players were just getting the job done. Douglas Luiz was just making fantastic passes. Even Tielemans scored. He started this time and scored a terrific goal. Leon Bailey, another young English player, he was fantastic. So, it's all going well for Villa.
Isn't Bailey a Jamaican, or can he also play for Jamaica?
You might be right. You might be right.
So.
Yeah. I know he has some English heritage. He is Jamaican. You're absolutely right. So he's. I don't know if he's played. Has he played on the Jamaican national team? I'm not even sure. I would think he has.
Yeah, I think he has for some reason. Yeah. All right, let's talk about player stats, because we don't do this very often. But I just decided to go look at who's leading. Here we're after 23 games. You can get an idea. They're really by this time. There's usually somebody that has close to 20 goals. No one's close to it right now. Haaland and Salah lead the league right now with only 14 goals. Are you kind of surprised by that?
Yes and no. I mean, to be fair, the top 2 players in Salah and Haaland have missed a few games because of injury.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, Haaland's played in 17, still scored 14 goals. That's pretty darn close to a good goal a game. Salah's played in a few extra, still got 14. Yeah, so I think maybe that's part of it. And then you look at some of the others. Son's been gone, obviously, from the team because of the cup that he's been playing in. And then Ollie Watkins, he's he's played more games than anybody. But the nice thing about him, he's got goals and assists. 11 goals, 10 assists. Right. So yeah, he's getting the job done in that respect.
As a matter of fact, he's the assist leader.
Yeah,
he
that's
has
right.
10 assists, leads the entire league in assists. Trippier has 9. Neto, who had a heck of a game against Chelsea, he's got 8, and Mo Salah also has 8.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no one really talks about Neto, but I like the way he plays.
I like a lot of Wolverhampton players that they have. I mean, they certainly find a way to get the job done. They got some players there, and obviously with what they did to Chelsea this past weekend and just dismantled them. But yeah, Neto is a strong player for them, as is Kuna as well, who scored the hat-trick against Chelsea.
Yeah. So let's talk about a couple of other types of stats that we never really talk about. Crosses. I went to see who leads the league in crosses. This is really not a surprise. It's Kieran Trippier. He has 186 of them. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold's in the top, but he hasn't been playing as much. Minutes played. Rodri from Man City, Lewis Dunk from Brighton, also Saliba at Arsenal. You wouldn't be surprised to know that most of these minutes played guys are your center backs, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Same with touches. Rodri and Dunk are number 1 and 2. They do keep track of everything, don't they?
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the stats now as we're talking. Passes complete, passes incomplete, pass accuracy.
Yeah.
Gone are the days when we just counted goals.
Right.
It's now it's everything that you can see. And I always put down the shot accuracy as well. I think the highest in the league is up there with João Pedro for Brighton and Alexander Isak, both at 70%. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And you think about shot accuracy, and then goal conversion to shots. That's always an interesting one. Adebayo from Luton, very high up there, close to 50%. That? Yeah.
There's also a category called errors leading to goals. And unfortunately, there's a couple of Americans on that top 4. You got Matt Turner up there and Tim Ream. That's a basis of our defense. That's not good to see. It's Americans. The other one I like to always look at is yellow cards, and I just assumed that Bruno Fernandes from Manchester United would be at the top, but he's not. But there are other Portuguese-speaking people that are, like Bruno from Newcastle is Brazilian. He's number 1. And João Palhinha, is that how you pronounce his name?
João Palhinha, yes.
Palhinha, he's also in the top. So those are your yellow card guys. But here's my favorite stats, all right? Because I'm a Liverpool fan, I just got the biggest kick out of Darwin Núñez leads the league in shots on goal. He's taking 73 shots on goal. He also leads the league in hit woodwork. He has hit the woodwork 9 times. And he also leads the league in offsides. He's been offsides 17 times to lead the league. So
there you go. Tells you everything you need to know there in terms of that. So
because we didn't mention him in the goal leaders, did we?
Yeah, exactly.
And he's taken 73 shots.
Yeah. And and I don't know if you saw this, but this makes a lot of sense. Most yellow cards for a team.
Yeah.
73, Chelsea.
Yeah. Well, what's their striker's name? Nicholas Jackson. He's gotten a ton of them.
Yeah, he's already missed twice because of accumulation. I think it's close to 11 or something ridiculous. But that gives you an idea. And I think more often than not, when you see teams with a lot of yellow cards, it tells you that they're struggling. They're struggling as a group. They're not working together. My goodness. Could you define Chelsea better than that? Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about what happened this past week?
Not really. Yesterday was bad enough. The only thing I've got to look forward to this weekend is that I'll have a good weekend because Chelsea doesn't play till Monday. So I won't be depressed over the weekend. So I can watch lots of nice games and be in a really good mood. And then unfortunately for you, Rick, when we record this on next week, I'm going to be probably in an upset mood. So we'll see what happens. But they do have an FA Cup game this week, so replay against the villains. Come on, you Chelsea. Yeah. Let's see what we got.
Before we started taping, you were predicting to me that Poch is probably in danger. That these next few weeks, they better get it together, or he may be a goner.
Yeah, people are saying the end of the season. I don't know. I mean, with this new ownership group, and again, I think that's part of the problem. One of my cousins, who's a Chelsea fan, he put something on social media. I thought this was really funny. He says that Matt, you know the group Madness. I know you love your music, sure. Matt. So they have a song called "Embarrassment," and they're saying they're going to be, because they're big Chelsea fans. All the Madness group there, and they sing the Madness songs after the games as well. Well, you witnessed it right there in the pub, right? You saw that at the pensioner there. But so yeah, they were saying that they should be releasing that song for Chelsea. You're an embarrassment because of the players, the ownership, and everything else. But I thought that was quite funny. But it's a tough go right now, and they need a change potentially if things don't get better, and I think that might happen, especially in the next few weeks.
Well, I saw the kiss of death. I was looking through the news, the Premier League news, and I saw that the ownership had given him a vote of confidence.
There you go.
And in America, that's like when you hear that, you're like, uh-oh.
Exactly. You've got a few weeks left.
Yeah.
If things don't get turned around in a dramatic fashion, yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. We'll see.
All right. Free Kicks is brought to you by the Illinois Youth Soccer Association.
Illinois Youth Soccer has been proudly serving the Illinois soccer community since 1975 and is one of Illinois' largest youth sports organizations. Illinois Youth Soccer is a non-profit corporation, charter member of the U.S. Soccer Federation, official state association, and charter member of U.S. Youth Soccer, administers U.S. Soccer Federation coaching programs, the Olympic Development Program, and U.S. Soccer Federation referee programs. For more information on our enhanced, fantastic website at illinoisyouthsoccer.org.
Okay, it's time for your favorite part of the show.
Time now to guess the Premier League star.
So, as I've mentioned to you the last couple of weeks, I've got my son Sean picking these players for you, and I think this one's a little too easy. Just on my eye, so I had to stretch a little bit on some of these clues because otherwise it's a giveaway.
Okay.
For instance, I'm not going to tell you how old he is.
Oh wow! Because that's always the easiest thing for me to figure out.
But I will say that this week's star is a veteran defender.
Gotcha.
Okay. He was the Premier League Player of the Month 3 times. Although not this year.
Not this year, yeah.
Yeah. All of those happened in 2008.
2008. Ooh.
Yeah.
A while ago.
Yeah. He has 39 caps for the English national team. The last one was in 2018.
Wow.
He's playing for his 4th Premier League team. The last 2 he played for are currently in the top 6 standings.
Okay. Well, these are tough clues. I mean, I'm not even any closer to where we need to be here.
His current team is in the relegation zone.
Okay.
And they've had some, and they may be even deeper if more points are taken away from them.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. There you go. That makes sense. Okay. So I'm guessing this is a player that's playing for a team in Liverpool.
That's correct.
And I'm surprised he played this many times for England. I just can't see it.
That was the last
much.
decade.
in the last decade.
No, I mean, it was last decade.
Yeah, last decade. Yeah. And he's been a bit up and down, to be fair, this year. And he is, if I remember, he's pretty much close to 40. Would that be fair to say?
He's 38.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't give you his age, because there's only like 3 players that fit that.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with former Aston Villa, Inter Milan, Manchester United. You know, he played for Villa twice. I didn't realize that.
He did, yeah.
Ashley Young.
That is right. He has the same first name as one of the characters in Gone with the Wind. I was going to save that one for you. There's an Ashley in Gone with the Wind. But, yes. I watched him play a couple of times this year. He can still play, but I remember he got a yellow card in just like the most thoughtless way possible in a game. And I thought, dude, you're 38. You know, you should be showing the other guys on the team how this goes, not the other way around.
Yeah. It always amazes me how some of these players, young, old, whatever it is, they get yellows for sliding in for tackles when the ball's going out of bounds or something. Just craziness.
Or kicking the ball away, just kicking it away. Like, what are you doing? That used to infuriate me at practice when I was a coach. Like, what are you doing? Stop that.
I totally agree. Yeah, terrible.
All right, it's time for my favorite feature.
Now time for Adam's Weekend Soccer TV Tip.
Okay, we already know Chelsea's not playing this weekend, so what else is going on?
Thank goodness. Yeah. I'm gonna have a great weekend. I'm not teaching any courses. Got a little bit ODP, but so I have a little bit more time to watch some games. Saturday is going to be loaded. Sunday, so I'm going to give you 2 games. Is that all right? Can I give you 2 games? One Saturday, one Sunday. So Perfect. Saturday, I think this is going to be a really good game just because of how both teams play. I think it's going to be open to watch. I mean, you had a Newcastle-Luton 4-4 draw this past week, which was a great game. So I'm going to go with, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Spurs versus Brighton at Spurs, 9 o'clock on Saturday. I think that's going to be a good one on Peacock. So definitely watch that one. And then on Sunday, I think this is going to be a good game too, especially with both teams playing well. Back at it again, 10:30. Both times great for your situation. Aston Villa versus Man United on Sunday. I think that's going to be a good game straight from Villa Park. So I think 2 really good games there. We've got a full list of teams. We got the Saturday, we got Sunday, we got Chelsea on the Monday. So I'll be in a good mood until Monday around about 4 o'clock. So yeah, everything's looking good. It should be a good weekend of games.
There's also a game on Sunday here in America called the Super Bowl, which some people may want to watch. I don't know. Does anyone watch that in Europe?
They do. It's people enjoy it. I think they just watch it because of all of the fanfare and everything else. So they just like watching the entertainment. I mean, if there's one thing that in the United States we do very, very well, it's throw a party. That's for sure. And really, what amazes me is the Super Bowl halftime. When you think about they actually do a concert at halftime.
Right, that's true.
It's really quite nuts. The poor guys are in there for 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes.
That's true.
It's like being on a hockey team. So, so they have to sit there, wait. Is Usher done yet? Oh, he should be done in about 5 minutes. Oh, I just want to get warmed up.
Can you tell Paul McCartney to get out of my locker room, please?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But it should be a good one. Should be an interesting one, especially from the stadium too. I mean, the stadium's absolutely amazing. I've seen it from the outside. I've not been inside, but Allegiant Stadium looks pretty impressive. So, By the way, talking of stadiums, you may have seen that they did release where all of the games are going to be for the World Cup. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. So, you want to talk about that quickly? The final is going to be where?
In New York, at the Metro Stadium there. What's the name of that stadium? You probably know better than I. Can't remember the name of the stadium. But it's in New York. So great place to have it. Should be awesome. And then my favorite stadium that I've ever been to is going to be hosting a semifinal in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz. So that's kind of exciting.
That's a great stadium.
Yeah, it really is. So lots of things. I think Dallas has got a bunch. And they did figure out that I was unsure if SoFi Stadium out there in LA was going to do it. I think we talked a little bit about how the field was going to be too small because of the seats, but I guess they figured out they're going to take some seats out and they're going to host some games as well. So that's where the U.S. is going to be based. They're going to be based out west. So they'll be in LA and Seattle, it looks like. So should be good. I'm really excited for that. It's going to be great.
Yeah, me too. Yes. Free Kicks is brought to you by the Green White Soccer Club. Green White's been around now for almost 70 years. We've got teams for all ages going as low as under 7, I think, or under 8, all the way to over 50. Check out greenwhitesoccer.org for more information. All right, Adam. I'm glad that you've got a weekend that you're not going to have to watch any Chelsea games, and we'll be back. We'll be back again next week. We forgot to thank people. I forgot to thank Tony Lasano, our executive producer. Thank you, Tony, for all your hard work on the show. Also, thank you to Ed Silla, the Radio Misfits. Talk Radio has not died. It's just gone to a better place. RadioMisfits.com, and we'll be back again next week with a brand new episode of Free Kicks.
The preceding was a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Find our other great shows on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at RadioMisfits.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?